Okay, but yeah, but okay. Oh, here we go. Okay. Sorry, it's really a banned document. So hi again. My name is Linda Dušková. I'm a theater director, and this is Lara Marciano. She's a composer, and we're gonna present you our project, which is called Songer. Songer, it's a French wordplay, and it actually is composed by word son means sound, and songer means dreamt. So it pretty much describes what we're gonna to tell you about this project. Actually, it has been estimated that up, the other one, no, it's me, actually, I don't know. Okay, that 95% of our dreams are forgotten within 5 minutes after waking up. And the history of the whole diary recording and psychoanalytic studies proves that the action of telling dreams and remember our dreams is some kind of personal need, which give us the possibility to stay in touch with our unconsciousness, to clarify and to learn something of our internal information. And to tell a dream is also often the only way to remember it. This particular individual, subjective, and deeply emotional experience can also be a clue to lucid dreaming, which can be a solution for the people suffering from nightmares and bad dreaming. We actually started to think about how we could do this dream recording and dream diaries stuff in a more poetical way, and we started to study the records of people dreams, telling it in the internet. There's actually pretty much websites that when you can listen to people describing the dream. And actually it appears that when we describe a dream, it's it's so emotional that we practically re-experience it again. And so that influences the way we talk, the way we breathe, the frequency and the rhythm and tempo of our world. So we start to think, oh my God, 1 minute. So actually, our project, it's a generation of a sound composition based on the information gained of your voice telling a dream. So we use these parameters, loudness, spectral centroid, frequency, rhythm, and tempo, to abstract some kind of frame or shape of the actual voice, which can be applied to another sounds and could generate some kind of composition that would turn your dream telling into a composition, or if you will, sonic dream. We started to proceed this information based on a dream record, which I would like to listen right now to it, just a little bit.
Dans ce rêve, je ne sais pas si c'est important de le préciser, je prends le plus petit des deux, qui desservait que les étages pairs, et j'essaye d'aller chez moi, au 11e,
okay,
parce que l'autre, il est...
So it's in French, and it's a man describes his nightmares of the elevators, who is just fooling and can't stop on the floor he lives in, and it finishes by turning upside down with the man inside it. And so we try to get the information from this voice record, and we pretty much just concentrated to one of the parameters, as we are not able to get the tool of all parameters yet, and it was the tempo. So Lara actually prepared some kind of sound composition as the sonic dream could looks like if we respect so these 1 minute records. So we just listen to it and it's really over. Go ahead. Thank you.
What do you think, what kinds of uses do you think this kind of application would have?
I think when I did the internet researches, I was pretty much surprised that there is a lot of people really wanted to keep the diary records, the dream records, and really doing it and try to analyze. So I think that it's not a large public application, that's for sure, but I mean that it's for everybody who just keeps some kind of intimate diary or wanted to record personal stuff, wanted to give a sonic dream to someone who is close, to share the personal information with someone around him. And we actually thought also about some kind of dream library or something like that, where you could just put all your dreams, sonic dreams, inside and then make them resonance or do the interaction between it.
Got it? Okay, guys. Thank you so much. I'm actually just going to say the names of the teams that are coming up next. So right now we have Film Collectively, which is going to do an amazing job. And if we could also, after this, we're going to have Tomorrow is Another Day. So they'll be getting ready here. Ready?
Hi everybody, my name is Perry Han and I'm presenting Film Collectively. So I'm not a narcissist, but I'm going to tell you about myself because I think it feeds into the story. So I'm Egyptian by background. I am a student at Sloan, MIT Sloan. I'm a second year MBA. I've lived in 4 countries and I'm an avid watcher of movies. I'm crazy about movies. I've produced some myself, but I watch something every night. But most importantly, I'm one of 4 million Arabs that live in the US that always look for content or from home but can't find it. Looking at the bigger picture, you will see that the industry, the film industry, or the Arabic film industry, on the distribution side or on the availability of content side, when you live abroad, like myself in 4 different countries, all of them have huge populations of Arabs, you will not see any content that represents the narrative that we want to see. In the US, there is only about 10 films that are available online in Arabic. And also, in general, there is no diversity, not just for Arabs, but diaspora communities in general, which make up more than 1/3 of the population in the US. On the other side, if you go to the countries where the talents exist that can actually produce those films and bring them here to the audience that wants to see them, you will see basically that they don't have access to any budgets because the capital is very much controlled within the big studios or the governments that also can censor the content. So overall, the opportunities for the filmmaker are all very, very limited, and at the same time, the content for people that want to see it is almost non-existent. So what I decided to develop with my team is a 2-sided platform that can connect the filmmakers or the talents directly to the audience that wants to watch by basically making it home for talent. So it's an online platform where the filmmakers can fund their projects and also reach an audience by distributing it. And as a user, you can watch films from home, from all over the world, wherever you are from. In this case, we're starting with the Arab region. But at the same time, you can influence the narrative that's represented about your culture by funding the new projects. So this is what it would look like. This is the homepage. You would see everything, basically. On the top, you see recommended films. And then on the right-hand side, you see new projects. And on the left side, you see a social feed of what your friends have watched, shared, or supported. This is what you would see on the watch page. if you go to a profile of, or basically to find filmmakers, this is how it would look like. Their profile page is kind of like LinkedIn, so you know everything about the filmmakers you're supporting. And if you're looking for a new project, also you can see a lot of information about it before you can fund it. We make money from a fee from crowdfunding and streaming, basically, so pay per download or rent. And also another big source of revenues is sponsorships from local companies that can actually, or are interested to reach basically the Arab diaspora community that would watch these films. So we can reach them basically by getting access to all the local businesses. They could be grocery stores. They could be, I don't know, fashion stores that are addressing directly the diaspora communities. And there's over 20 film festivals in the US alone that are targeting the Arab community and the Arab movie lovers. We'll partner with them, and as well as diaspora community networks that exist already in the US. Our team is consisted of 3 people: the hacker, the hustler, and the hipster. So we make it all. So we believe that basically this can be replicated to all the other diaspora communities, including the 5 million Indian, 4 million South Korean, and so many other diaspora communities that suffer from the same problem. Thank you.
So, nice question, or really nice presentation, I meant to say. I just want a point of clarity, right? So this is a marketplace created initially for the US audience to bring film and to target Arab film first, but potentially then other geographic reasons, right?
Yeah,
and communities.
So within the US, we'll move from one diaspora community to the other. And overall, the platform can move from the US to France, for instance, which is like the #1 market for foreign film, and then Germany. So, but we're focused in the beginning on the US because it's the most diverse in terms of numbers of diaspora communities.
Thank you so much. That's a really interesting idea as someone who watched a lot of Bollywood films growing up and was never sure where to find the next great one. Okay, so our next team coming up is Tomorrow is Another Day. And can we get you guys right up here, please? So guys, when the team before you is going, you need to start getting ready so that way we can move through this quickly. Thanks so much. Come on up. All right. Can we take the music down one more time? I just want to make a quick announcement. I'm going to read through the order one more time. Oh, are you guys ready? Okay.
Hello, everybody. We are Tomorrow is Another Day, and we are a pretty diverse group of engineers, artists, and musicians. The concept that we tried to deal with was focusing on understanding how much time we spend doing quote unquote nothing on our electronic devices, and how to turn this into something tangible, something physical. We all know that we spend a lot of time on Facebook or on Twitter or on, I don't know, on our phone, and that's basically our idea was how can we turn that in something that we actually touch or see after we do that. So the concept was, as I said, translating our everyday usage on our phone or in general on our electronic device into a visual map or a tangible object. And what we made was basically an object, a physical object that is wirelessly controlled with a background app on our phone that tracks our swiping mode or maybe the motion itself of our phone. And in order to create a physical map or a physical representation of our usage. So the experience that we are trying to achieve is trying to let user understand the involvement or the addiction that they have to the electronic devices they are using. And during these days, we are trying to put these ideas into an object. We started prototyping this object, and this is basically the idea we came up with. It's basically a cone, and we have a ping pong ball because there's nothing else we could find to draw something on this cone. So basically, there's gonna be ink coming out of the ping pong ball, and the ball is controlled with a servo motor, and the phone is going to control the servo motor. So basically, with the blocking position, the ping pong ball is being controlled, and we create we want to, in this case, create a representation with ink of our motion with the phone. So yeah, it's pretty. I think it's pretty cool. We realized using ink, for example, in this case, you can see we used paper on the floor. That was a little bit messy and a little bit difficult to scale. So we tried to think about another object that is maybe more usually used by us, and that apply the same idea. So we thought that maybe a calendar that is deploying the same idea. Basically, there is a pen, maybe not a ping pong ball with ink, that is controlled. It's like a pendulum that oscillating back and forth. They also go up and down, always controlled by servos, and controlled by servos that are as well controlled by your phone. And so basically, this is the idea of a calendar is basically saying that we wanted to capture every day the usage of your phone, and maybe you can create a piece of visual art from the usage of your phone every day.
Every day, and after that you can see maybe some patterns that you repeat each
Yeah.
day, or maybe each Sunday or each Monday that you use your cell phone in the same way.
Yeah.
And maybe it could be like a
diary of the user,
Yeah.
the use of your phone.
And make you realize if you're using your phone too much or you're too less.
not that much.
Okay, that's the idea, yes. Are we done? What's going on?
Hi, thanks. Really cool.
questions,
Oh,
right.
sorry. Were you still presenting?
No, I just forgot.
So I imagine there's an infinite number of ways you could visualize
Yeah.
the data that you're getting, and so I'm interested in the decisions that you've made, kind of going from a digital and the data to these analog and
This
very.
object?
Yes, I just would love
Okay.
to understand
So-
the thought process.
The thing is that we don't have enough materials to work with. Like we only had one servo, and during the weekend it's hard to get another servo or or a motor, servo motor. Well, I'll say servo motor. So basically, the concept of the object was basically driven by the material we had available.
Yeah. So you should have just said, oh well, come up with a creative reason why you chose those instead of saying that you were limited. But I guess my question was more, just you don't have to tell
But
the
that's
truth.
not true,
No,
because
but I guess
if you're limited, you can be creative
right,
and
of
use
course,
those
of course.
materials.
My real question is why the analog? So even this example, with the ink. So I guess I want to know why, as a team, creatively, you guys were thinking that it's compelling to translate it into ink instead of a digital visualization of the data.
I think that. Oh no, you can answer.
We were kind of drawn to the very physical qualities of the ink because it's true, we are not actually visualizing, but it's more trying to be engaging in some kind of emotional way, the analog idea is very interesting for that. So there is some kind of in between, it's between being legible and abstract. it's like if you see like Jackson Pollock's paintings.
There's
you
a
can kind of-
random element.
Yeah, totally. That was some kind of inspiration. You can kind of figure out what he was doing, but at the same time, there's all these abstract qualities that emerge from it, which makes them really interesting and kind of go beyond the visualization also.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. I think we're out of time. Great, thank you so much. I really wish that using my phone to tweet all the time could turn me into Jackson Pollock. I think there may be a few steps in between, but that's cool. Okay, so that was Tomorrow is Another Day, a very artistic name, and a Gone with the Wind reference, I think. And then the next team we have is Synesthesia, and after that we have Leo and Tony and Liz. Are you guys, if you could just raise your hands and come on over, and if we could get you on deck, yeah, right here while these guys are going, that would be fantastic. And what I might do is, while they take questions, I may ask you guys to all set up. Let's see. No, it just. Oh, it will take you a while to set up.
Hi, my name is Vlad, and this is Pavel and David. We're developers from MIT. And this project revolves around synesthesia. It's a topic I've always been fascinated by. It's basically the blending of the senses. Some people are born with this ability where they can taste shapes or see music. And the rest of us are kind of limited to, maybe hallucinatory experiences. So we're trying to change this. And the way we're approaching this problem is we want to take as an input a video and a soundtrack and use computer vision algorithms to create a representation of the scene coming from the video and use audio processing tools to get a representation of the audio, and use the audio as an input to change the representation of the video so as to achieve a synesthetic effect that actually looks meaningful with respect to how it interacts with the real world.
Hi, so the inspiration for this, I guess, was partially augmented by us meeting actually someone who has synesthesia at this very event. And so she can see colors for music, basically. And even though she didn't even know about this gift she had, she was basically training to be a professional musician. And so that kind of gives a hint that also if you think of some of the most famous composers had synesthesia, and Feynman had synesthesia for numbers and colors. So it seems like a gift that gives you some kind of an ability to think outside the box and have some insight that most people don't have. So we thought that this kind of a mind-opening experience could actually be transformative to us mere mortals who don't have this disorder, which is not considered disorder, but yeah. So basically you can think of the mind as a very high-dimensional space of mental cognitive space, and our nurture and our everyday experience of how we live constrains us to a certain very low-dimensional subspace, manifold of this thing, and there are very few experiences in life that can get us off this routine that we're used to. So we were inspiring to create one such experience that basically allows you to see beyond your usual tunnel vision sort of thing, and hopefully get inspiration and things like that.
So we started creating this experience yesterday. We want to make the experience relevant to the content of the video and the audio you're experiencing. So we're using open source software, machine learning, machine vision algorithms, as well as audio analysis algorithms. So this is a starting point, an exploration for what the experience might be like.
quand on n'a que l'amour à s'offrir en partage un jour du grand voyage qu'est notre grand amour. Quand on n'a que l'amour, mon amour, toi et moi, pour qu'éclate de joie chaque heure et chaque jour. Quand on n'a que l'amour pour vivre nos promesses sans nulle autre richesse que d'y croire toujours. Quand on n'a que l'amour pour meubler de merveilles, découvrir de soleil.
So you can see if you stare at this long enough, you get ideas. Questions?
So how did you choose what sort of textures and mapping you were doing to the music? Like what's behind that?
Yeah, so there are several things going on here. So first of all, we're sort of you're basically using this Open Computer Vision library, OpenCV, to sort of like find some basic representations, like find various edges. We're also swapping color channels. We're sort of using some adaptive Gaussian filtering effects like that. And so that gives you some set of parameters, and then we're using the audio to basically toggle those parameters so that once you hear something, it actually corresponds to something you can visually see. So you can make that correspondence between those things.
So if you played like music from a different genre, would you get visualization that was drastically different, or were you seeing things that were kind of similar?
Yeah, so based on the audio input, right now we look at the tempo and the intensity of the song. So as you see, going through every beat, every measure, the effect changes.
And those decisions, is there any evidence you base that on that has a particular effect besides making us get that idea that you referred to potentially? I mean, is there anything that you're basing that on?
So how do you ask an artist why they draw the painting that they do? How can you explain this sort of thing? In the future, for monetizable sort of ideas, we were thinking of making it an electric sheep sort of thing, where it's a crowdsourced data mining thing where people can give their input on what they think is good and what isn't, and there's like an evolution algorithm that converges to something. So there will be a concrete choice, reason for choices. But.
Okay, great, thanks. We're out of time, guys. Yeah, sorry. Thanks so much. All right, and that was synesthesia. Interestingly, that sounds like something they would have at like the coolest party you ever went to, you know, at just surveying the crowd. Okay, so we've got Leo and Tony and Liz, which is a very descriptive name, up next. The team members are, in fact, Leo, Tony, and Liz. And we have film traffic on deck. So if we could get you guys just right out here and get ready, that would be fantastic.
Hello?
So we weren't able to find a name for our project yet that would be as cool as our project is. So we went for a descriptive name, just like a descriptive team name. We'd like to share some audiovisual experiments that we've made on genetic data. I'm a computational biologist. I'm Elizabeth. Tony is a creative technologist, and Leo is an acoustics engineer. So the idea that this project has stemmed from is an interest in exploration the notion of identity, namely genetic identity. I think this is a very timely and relevant question to explore because now the human genome has been sequenced. Personal genome sequencing is also readily available if you have a few $1,000s. And so I think that this is a very important question to be able to discuss. And I think that discussing this artistically is a way to be able to bring this idea to people who are not necessarily scientists. And so we took genetic data and translated it into both a visual experience and a sound experience, and want to create kind of like an immersive, interactive installation. So on the sound side, this is the data that you look at. Maybe Leo can tell you about how he translated that into sound.
So the zeros and the ones are the presence or the absence of some markers along the DNA molecule. And the last two ones have something to do with the complexity of this 3D structure of the actual molecule. So we wanted to render that into the sound. So should we listen to it?
You want to go ahead and play? Yeah.
Maybe we can play that.
I'd like for you to imagine in your mind's eye this interactive, immersive installation. What we have here is the profile of the user that's being detected and the human genome sequence. You can see ATGC. I don't know, how many of you here have already seen the human genome sequence? Okay, so a few. It would be a new experience for lots of people. So I'd like for you to imagine this being projected on the user's body. And so the user enters a dark room, all of a sudden their presence is detected, and the human genome sequence is mapped onto their body. And so this is an introspective experience in the sense that you can look down at your own body, and your body is revealed by the human genome sequence. Also, if you have multiple participants, this is kind of a collaborative experience where you're able to perceive other people, and all of the normal criteria, visual criteria, that we automatically categorize people by, for example, age, gender, race, are completely abstracted. And so we're having this kind of interactive, collaborative community experience that allows us to kind of perceive other people according to these characteristics that we all share. And so I think that's it that we have to explain. Also, if anybody wants to come and play with this later and have your picture taken with the human genome sequence, come and see us.
So the idea is that the music changes based on your body shape, or?
Yeah, so we would like to make the musical experience a unique experience for each person. So the music would be mainly based on the data that we showed you, but this would be somehow modulated or tuned by the actions or the positions of each player. And so in that sense, you could kind of have your own sound, like what does a human sound like? We had a very interesting conversation with a mentor this afternoon who suggested, like, maybe you can then have like groups of people. You know, what group of person would have the most harmonious sound together, for example. Thank
Okay, thanks so much, Leo, Tony, and Liz. I had no idea what to expect from the name. Okay, I don't know if any of the rest of you had to do that experiment in school where you had to take a cheek swab of your genetic data and, you know, do stuff with it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you guys can start doing personalized ones.
Yeah, that's a whole other realm that would be very interesting to translate into our project.
Cool. Okay. Well, now we have film traffic coming up, and if we could get Lux Loop on deck, you guys are in here? Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. If we could just get you guys on deck, that would be great. Thanks so much.
Let me get. Okay. It's cool. We'll do it. Hi, we're Film Traffic. This is a new way to discover movies online. The problem Film Traffic solves is it's difficult to find new films in a sea of content online. With the growth of the long tail, discovery is a central challenge. As a result, users browse endlessly, and furthermore, keyword searches and textual lists don't effectively capture a fundamentally visual medium. The Onion characterized the situation with its browse endlessly plan on Netflix, and our research suggests that this is a really big challenge. So what we're doing is we're providing the first industry-wide tool for discovery on streaming video networks. And secondly, we're translating search into a visual process. Film Traffic makes search more intuitive by adapting new image search and pixel recognition technologies to improve film discovery. This builds a much richer index of tags that we can generate that build an index on texture, a film's mood, its pacing, its cinematography style, even its lensing. By making search visual, we make it a much more enjoyable and intuitive process for users. So now Ryan's going to take you through how this all works.
All right. And so in our design iteration, we were interested in moving away from the Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon model of just giving you a grid of movie covers and movie posters. And we were really interested in trying to analyze the actual visual content of the films in order to allow you to select the right one. And so here we have the text category of comedy. And here's what you get when you look at them online, the covers. But we're interested in what if just looking at random screenshots from the film, and you can see Stifler's face looking like this, gives you a better impression of old school than the actual cover. And we're trying to go further into analyzing even more screenshots to see what visual information we can extract. And so this is one hypothesis that we're trying to explore to reinvent the user experience of browsing films. Imagine using only screenshots to browse, selecting certain moods and visual styles that you are currently interested in, and then seeing more and more films only along that line. So then you went from simply admiring a landscape to now viewing beautiful space movies. And so if we look at the screenshots that we extracted, you can get way more than the text documentary tag that is currently the status quo. The natural space, the tone of the movie, the contrast, the pace, how many frames have people in it, etc.
Great, and just to give you a sense of the market, this allows users to experience a much greater diversity of films online, allowing them to move from cable to streaming subscription video on demand at a lower cost with greater variety. Helps lesser known artists get discovered, and it really fundamentally changes the way we watch films. Finally, we're gonna make revenue through inbound connections to end SVOD platforms through recommendations, and we're going to license the engine to SVOD platforms that want to improve their discovery mechanism, and this will grow as search becomes more visual on new computing interfaces and display technologies.
Do you guys see the notion of existing metadata going away, or this enhancing that and taking those signals as well?
Yes, so it's essentially a kind of like interpolation of existing metadata to generate the initial images and then provide search at the user interface level on a purely visual basis. And then from that, we generate a new index of tags based on the visual interaction with images that we generate through metadata that's textual based.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you so much, you guys. That was a really interesting, that's an interesting way to think about searching a DVD collection, for example. Okay, so that was Lux Loop, and oh, sorry, that was Film Traffic. Now we have Lux Loop setting up, and we have Sound Map getting ready to present next. So you guys are here? Sound Map? Yep, great. If you could just come over here, that'd be great, and we'll get you on deck. Thanks, guys.
Hi there, we are Lux Loop. My name is Mandy and this is Avilo. We are two filmmakers and we're interested in exploring how traditional filmmaking and kind of this rich narrative language that's been developed for 50 years can be a part of this conversation as we start to explore how interaction and media take place together. We are both filmmakers and we work in live action, and I think that there is a strong history that's been developed about how we tell stories in framing and color and lighting. And as we got interested in interactivity, we were exploring what kind of already existed. And one of the big places that how we tell stories is being brought into an interactive space is virtual reality. One of the problems with this is that there's limited availability to this technology, and you need very specific technology to be able to design these interactions and bring these interactions into real life. Another problem that I had as a filmmaker with VR was that it, for a while, seemed limited to computer graphics, and I know that that is partially a technical problem, and John has done some amazing stuff with bringing the cinematic language to this technology. Another place that interactivity and storytelling has been explored a lot is kind of with this online story-based media content. Problems that I have with that is it's very decision-based and the interaction is very explicit. You must make this choice to go this way or that way or click yes or no. So we were interested in exploring how we can make the interactivity more seamless and not as explicit to the viewer that's experiencing it. So these are just examples of cinematic language. We want to explore this kind of content being used in interactive ways. So for our prototype that we created over the hackathon, we were exploring a film being projected into a gallery or museum type space. This is a space that we as filmmakers are asked to present content in, whether it's for a branded event or it's an installation. So we thought it would be interesting to explore how spatially the viewer interacts with content. So the interaction design portion of this, you kind of have an interaction space in front of the screen that's laid out. For this, we were interested in how we can have the spatial detecting people spatially interact with the content. So we decided to divide this up into 4 different areas for the purpose of creating a very basic narrative way to explore this today. We assigned an emotion to each one of these 4 content spaces. So then how do you design content for this kind of interaction? It's similar to video games in that you kind of create a story web. If we were to make a more narrative kind of piece for it, the story web would end up looking something like this, and you would design a lot of choices and interactivity to it, and maybe you never play the same story twice. But for today, we just wanted to do a more basic thing. So we kind of had different shots that we shot the same shot with 4 different emotions. Yeah, I'm going to pass it over to Vilo so we can get the prototype up.
Sorry, they're just rushing us along, and I want to get you guys to see what we actually developed. So we wanted to use film language to actually bring interactivity into hiding it in the way we tell films. So here we have a dialogue scene that is seamlessly expected to be cut between 2 angles. That is controlled by the position of Mandy on the stage. So based on where she walks or where the viewer walks, there is a very direct relationship between the content they're seeing, and they're aware of this direct relationship between the content they're seeing and their position. There's also a model where the viewer can be less directly aware of their effect on the narrative. For example, a branching narrative where their position in space affects the narrative progression and maybe different endings are possible. So we have a very brief scene that is on 4 parallel timelines, and based on which where Mandy is in space, it will jump at the cut points to different emotional beats in the scene. And our time's up.
Nice job. I can imagine a lot of places to go. Just curious, when did you get started on this together, on this idea?
This idea, this is yesterday. I mean, conceptually, it's something that we've talked about for a while, and it's something that we're very interested in enabling storytelling and seeing different ways to bring new kinds of content to interactivity and like emphasizing story, but actually prototyping yesterday.
Another thing that is interesting to us, and it's a problem that people discussed in a lot of the panels yesterday, is how do we get storytellers into this content? You know, I work in film production, I work with directors, and I work with producers, and kind of this interactive thing is so foreign to them, and they just don't even want to approach it because they don't understand it. And I think that this kind of interactivity is similar to something you already do in storytelling. It's similar to the editing process, and I believe it's maybe an entry point both for the consumer and the creator to be more familiar, work in new technology, but also in a way that they're already comfortable working and telling stories.
Okay, thanks so much, you guys. All right, thank you so much. You guys, that was Lux Loop. We actually have a really rich program in interactive documentary here at MIT also. So, yeah, doing really interesting stuff. I was just thinking how this would look for programs like Fight Club. You know, I mean, if you can get involved in the action. Okay, so that was Lux Loop. We've got Sound Map setting up right now. And Turn Up, you guys are ready? Awesome. If we could just get you guys on deck over here, that'd be great. Okay.
Present mode. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Afwa and this is Shrenik and we are Sound Map. So I wanted to ask you guys to take a second to think about the last time you searched for new music. You know, what did you end up doing? Did you go to like your favorite song? Did you tune into your favorite station? Maybe check out an artist you already know. Maybe look for an artist in a new genre. Pretty much we've all been through like the same cycle of music discovery and the same like cycle of consumption. And we actually want to disrupt that, that cycle because quite frankly, we all know how boring that can really be. And that's kind of where Sound Map comes in. We are a region-based music discovery system. And what that means is we're trying to get clients and consumers to discover new artists and new music genres in areas outside of mainstream United States. So as you said, we're trying to get people to discover music by region. We want to educate people on different music styles that exist, different traditions in music and performance, and expose people to different cultures that they may not be familiar with. We see this mainly working with current music streaming services such as Spotify, Pandora, and radio. And in schools, children start learning about different cultures, elementary and middle school with geography. So this would be a nice way to kind of introduce them and have a more immersive experience to musical styles and art. And also the travel industry, we're hoping our product can help people once they discover a region that they really enjoy, they'll maybe take the opportunity to discover it firsthand and travel to that area. So this would be a sample kind of email-based service that we were hoping to run. You would get an email every single day, and here you would have a nice little spinning globe that you would click on, and it would take you, it would highlight a region on a map, and it would start playing a song from one country in that region, and you'd be able to hover over that map and start discovering new artists. So we can actually start.
So I'm going to demo the prototype that we came up with today.
So ideally, once you click that globe, from the email, it'll take you to a highlighted region. Currently, it's here in Northeast United States.
So depending on the location that you're at, that you're trying to discover, it starts streaming a popular artist from that area. And as you if you want to explore different areas, let's say we want to go to Virginia. So apparently Jason Mraz is from that area, and that's the kind of music that you can find in that area. So let's say if you move to Mexico now. So you can kind of see that, the music itself is kind of changing. You kind of get a good idea of the kind of music that's been generated in those areas. So as you move around, you can just keep. I'm just going to keep traveling around the world a little bit and show you. Right, so I go to India and like it's so it's like a version of that song, I guess, from that area. But yeah, it's a little buggy, but for example, if I go to, let's say, South Korea, maybe, you can see like so yeah. Thank you.
All right, so is this based on where the performer, recording artist is from versus sort of what's currently culturally hot? Is that accurate? Just double check.
Fine-tune this to represent the culture from that place. So let's say, I mean, you could be, like somebody could be playing rock music, let's say in India, but that may not be the actual cultural music. So we want to kind of narrow it down. So this is just some kind of a proof of concept just to.
Sorry, actually, I think my question kind of was a little bit about what you were just saying. So obviously there's some correlations between music and the characteristics of the music and the location, right? So somehow your location mapping that is giving you something new. So I'm just wondering, how are you choosing, are you trying to choose the iconic representation of the culture, or are you trying to find the artists that are doing something different? And I guess I just want to hear more about that.
So I guess we're open to a lot of cases from there. Like, so we can take one direction, but I prefer to go down the cultural route. So somehow try to figure out like what kind of music represents that place. Like, you know, what can you think of as soon as you think of that place? Like, what music comes to your mind? It's not about popularity.
What music comes to mind when you think of Cambridge?
Well, actually, that's actually very good. So if you think about the U.S. itself, like I think it's a like potpourri of different cultures. It's very tough to actually represent that. But I don't know. Like originally, it's just a mix. Like could be anything.
I would argue that most places are kind of like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But you could start in a lane and have multiple lanes.
Okay.
Cool. I think. Thanks so much, you guys. So that was Sound Map. And it's interesting, we've actually, so Desi and I, as the people organizing this hackathon, have seen these ideas evolve over time. And yesterday night, I remember I went up to Afwa, and she was sitting with her head in her hands, looking incredibly depressed. And I said, Afwa, what's wrong? And she said, I had a great idea, and it turns out somebody's already done it. And I think that's like a familiar moment for a lot of people going through the journey of a hackathon, is you have an amazing idea, and you realize it's so good that obviously you're not the first person to come up with it. So that was definitely, like, they went through that process of reinvention. Which is always great to see. Okay, so we have Turn Up going now, and then we have Nonlinear Bandcamp yeah. CJ, are you here? Yep, okay, great. So we'll just get you on deck here.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We're Turn Up, the local music discovery app, and we're a team of diverse backgrounds in business, engineering, and policy, but we all share one thing in common, is that we love music. But there's a common problem that we all find, and it's that local music discovery sucks. And it's really it's hard to find local bands and artists, period, and just to get the exposure of them. And also, on the flip side, it's hard for those local bands and artists to build a fan base, which is important for anybody that's trying to start up. So we have an idea. It's sort of like a Tinder, but for local bands. And it's a platform where you can quickly hear a song, say if you like it or not. And then if you do, you can keep that in your profile and build up with that. And what it'll do is you can help you find an artist before they become a big shot. And then you can brag to your friends that you found them before they're big. And also, you can have a local show. So you'll have a link that will connect right to that band and when they're playing. That's good because these bands will be able to build their base and also, in that city, build the social music scene. So now Tor's going to describe the app that we built.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to zoom in really quick and enter full screen. We really started working on this on Friday night, but it was really important for us because the user experience is most important for us to show you what that user experience would actually look like. So here's what the user would see when they're opening up the app to discover music. This is Jay Nash, singer-songwriter from Boston. It's a little low-key. I might swipe left on this. Ian Fuzzpop Band. All right. All right. I'm liking this. All right, I can swipe right on these guys, which will add it to my artist list. And at the same time, the app is telling me Ian is playing a show really soon nearby me, Church of Boston, Boston, Massachusetts, October 5th. That is tonight. This is a real show. You should go see it. You can go and click. It's going to take you right to the event page where you can see where it is and where it's going, a link to buy tickets, when doors are. You can click this link. You can go straight to the band page. That little star tells you they're already in your favorite artists. You can see a bio, link to SoundCloud and Bandcamp if you want to see full songs. You can see a list of their events. There's that event again. And then if you look, you can go straight to your artist list. Shows you all the artists you've already added. And then your events. You can see a list of events. And each user is going to have a profile that looks a little bit like this. You'll be able to connect to other users as well. We're going to keep it moving, though.
Cool. So there are a few things that we are not. We are not, first of all, a streaming service. We're not Spotify. We are not a music store, so we're not the next iTunes. And we are not a big artist promoter. We're not looking to get Justin Bieber on the service at all. There are some things that also make us unique, obviously, and separate us from those big services. Quick discovery. So we're interested in a quick, easy interface, as you've just seen. It's pretty easy to get around. And short clips, so 30-second sound bites that give you a taste of the artist, but you're not listening to their full discography. We're interested in into a local focus. So we want to connect fans with the artists and get fans to events, because that is what new up-and-coming artists are interested in. And we're interested in the direct connections that we create between the fans and the artists. We want to also expose a wide range of genres to the fans, get everything that we have in the local community, expose them to that. There are lots of opportunities in terms of monetization, feature growth, monetization. We're looking at subscription or premium services for bands and artists. Features, there's so many features that we can expand on and functionality that we can improve on in the long term, looking at statistics and that sort of thing. We're looking at creating partnerships between artists and promoters, as well as creating those very important partnerships between artists and their fans.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Can you talk a little bit about the business model?
Sure, that bit at the end there that we're getting rushed through? Sure. We actually thought a lot about this, but we're not going through this whole slide. But in terms of the monetization side, we primarily envision subscription-based things, premium services for users who want to connect more with artists, artists who really want to connect with fans. I know we spoke with Ryan Leslie, who's trying to find new ways to connect to users. These are all users who are finding your band randomly, local-based. These are people who could be at your show next week. So any way to connect with those users directly and engage them through the app and this service is more valuable to those artists maybe than any other group of fans who may already be engaging with those artists. These are new fans who can show up tomorrow night, and live performances are where the money is at for a lot of these local bands in particular that rely on their local audiences for any income at all.
How do you onboard new bands to it?
So what we're thinking for new bands is that the bands respond, and this is feedback we've gotten from the artists directly. Bands are really responding to the fact that we say we have users. You come to a band, we say, the bands don't even have to know that the users have been seeing them on the app, but if the users have already been adding them to their favorite artist lists and adding these events to their favorite events, we can go to the artist and say, listen, this is a group of 40 fans who have already added this event to their page. You haven't engaged with them yet. They discovered you through our app where they heard a 15-second clip of your music. These are fans you could have if you were engaging with our app. They don't need to be a premium band user to start reaching these users. It's just something that would help them.
Okay, thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So that was Turn Up. And that's another one we've actually seen evolve over the course of this weekend. But he came up and he said, well, it's like a Tinder for local music. And everyone was like, okay. We get what that's about. So the current, we've got a very energetic one-person team again, that's Nonlinear Bandcamp. And then our final team for the night is Street Production System. So if you guys could just raise your hands, show me where you're at. Great. Just come on over here and we'll get you on deck. Great.
Want a little bread, spoodles
Oh, can I not? Yeah.
Does anyone enjoy listening to the sound of the waves in the ocean? They're always different, never the same twice. And there's kind of like a process to it that you can enjoy. Who here has a favorite song and like listens to it over and over and over again? I do, and every time I listen to it, it's like a little bit different for me. But it's weird because the file format, the recorded audio, is the same bits every time. Okay, that's just another barrier we can break. You guys know Brian Eno, right? 77 million paintings, generative music. 77 million paintings. It was this Windows software, and it made music that was always different every time you listened to it. Okay, why don't musicians make music like that? Why is it all like static music? There hasn't been a really good delivery platform for that. We got web audio now. Go humans! We got like Chrome. We have browsers with web audio on all our devices. So I did proof of concept that you can make generative music, and your file format is just HTML, and it's so nice that like anywhere you can run it. You can even put it on a USB and have USB stick and have that be your art object USB stick. But here's an example of the nonlinear example. See, this looks like Bandcamp. You guys know Bandcamp? So I'm just like borrowing the style there to make a parody. Do you guys hear sound? I don't hear sound. Okay, this is conceptual art. This is a song that is like infinite in length. And its tempo increases forever, and if you hit play, it'll keep never not ending. And actually, I even have the thing the more you play it, it never gets to the end. It's just like exponential. It's like you can prank your friends. I don't know. I don't know. I just want to make give underground artists something more cool to experiment with, are you guys gonna ask me about monetization? Wouldn't it be cool if you could sell? Every fan gets a different version of the album. Whoa. Okay, and then they start trading them like Pokemon cards, you know?
Hold on 1 second, CJ. Do we have any questions for CJ?
So how do you write a song?
Well, for the longest time, generative music was only programmer musicians could do it. But it's as easy as storyboarding, right? So that's the next hackathon. I just make the storyboarding app, so then anyone can make that stuff. Yeah.
Okay, guys, this is our final team. So we have had an amazing evening and afternoon, and they're going to finish up. Thank you so much, CJ, Nonlinear Bandcamp. He was that energetic all weekend long and had about 6 ideas. So Street Production System, yeah.
I'm going to give 5 minutes for the technical team to help us. You can dance too. Okay, I think we're good. So thank you, everybody, for keeping your attention with us. We're the last one, and we will respect the 3-minute or 4-minute deadline. My name is Sophie. I'm presenting with Zara. We had 2 other team members who cannot be here this afternoon, David and Natasha. I've been performing the last 6 years on traditional theater, using the support technical for sound, light, and settings. Last summer, I was with my sister taking advantage of a theater festival in France and trying to bring poetry and theater in the streets. People really appreciated the fact that we were trying to reach a broader audience and to sensitize more people to performing arts. But we encountered a big problem. The audience could not hear us well, and the whole performance lacked an atmosphere.
So the problem we're trying to solve is that there's not enough street theater out there. And one of the challenges that street theater has is a challenging technical environment that's pretty unique. So what we'd like to do is realize the potential of public spaces by bringing high production quality performances to the streets and to engage a broader audience. So our solution for this is we're just calling it the street production system for now. And we wanted to encompass various things like sounds, lights, projection, and we can extend that onwards. So the centerpiece of this will be an app. This is our very fake-looking mock-up, which will be a queuing system that works with different pieces. So you could have sound cues or light cues. You could cue mics. You could cue particular sound effects you want to use, or you could or other atmospheric sort of cues. And what we want to do is we want to link it to wearable speakers, wearable mics that the performer would be wearing. And this would be also linked to a wearable trigger that they could have on their wrist, somewhere inconspicuous, and they would use that to trigger the pre-programmed cues in the app. So the things that we're really looking at is we want this to be a portable, wearable system. We want it to be low power wireless, and most importantly, we want it to be low cost and really fast and easy to set up, which can be really important when you're doing really short street performances.
Thanks to our product, we could transform any space into a theater. Thus, our product could enable having Shakespeare played in a park, having guerrilla opera in the street, having activist street theater defending a cause, or other applications like one act on the subway. Other applications possible could be viral marketing, private events, like for birthday, like parties, company events, any other thing that could transform, basically, thanks to our product, indoor or outdoor space into a theater.
So the features we want to focus on for this system is that we want it to be modular, and that enables us to have a phased development approach. We want to start with something simple, just take the queuing app and add a sound system. And then later on extend it to things like lights and projection. We want it to be an open platform where people can have an accessory store where ourselves or other people can develop accessories that work with the system, such as lights and projection. And I guess our time's up, and I think we'll put the next slide up.
So as far as the technology that you plan to use for this kit, do you plan on, was that something you were thinking you would develop yourself, or would you use existing technologies and alter them to suit your purposes?
So thank you for asking that question, because then I can talk about this slide. So I think what we want to do from here on out is actually just go ahead and make a prototype with parts that we can buy off the shelf. We want to develop the app, but then take things like wearable processors and wearable computers that we can buy and wearable speakers and try to make all of that work. And then we want to go do a demo performance and see how it works and get feedback from other performers and the audience. So.
All right, great. Thank you so much, you guys. All right, well, thank you so much, everyone, for coming to Hacking Arts, our presentations. Woo! Let's just cheer all the teams. You guys were amazing. So we're going to have our panel of judges deliberate for the next half an hour or so. And during that time, we're just we've got about 2-minute transition, and then we have a a performance for you guys while they're deliberating. And we'll meet back here in about half an hour, and we'll find out who's won all the prizes. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for coming.
The height of your game, aren't you? Would you not say that?